Wowzitude. I've used it a couple of times. I participated in a trip to Venice and it one to a ski trip in Banff in Canada. And I would draw the analogy to our positive aging discussions with this platform because our discussions are live and interactive. You can, ask questions, you can make comments. We're all here right now. Um, and there's tons of, recorded videos and YouTubes that we can engage in to learn about various places around the world. But, to be on the ski lift live with a guy in Banff, Canada, it was just a really cool experience. And I commend you on the platform there, Susan. Before we dive into that a little bit more, tell us what about your background? How'd you get into this?
Well, first of all, Steve, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here and thrilled to be with the positive aging community. So thank you for the invitation. And we are excited because we're all about positive aging. And I've spent my entire career in travel. Ironically, it was to get people to go someplace. I've been head of marketing for American Express Travel and Liberty Travel, Cheap Caribbean CIE Tours, the list goes on. And then, of course, when COVID hit, no one was going anywhere, least of all my own mother, who was a passionate traveler, and challenged me to come up with something that made her feel like she was in the destination. Because as you said, Steve, there are a lot of television programs and videos and YouTube, but nothing that would be completely immersive and make you feel like you're there. So we spent a good 6 months trying to figure out how we could make people feel like they are there. And then we came up with Wowzitude. It didn't hurt that my background in travel helped me connect to literally, well, first dozens and now hundreds of tour guides around the world who are eager to connect. But my travel background is what led me to live streaming tours so people can enjoy traveling from wherever they are, from home or communities.
Cool. Yeah, and for folks that haven't experienced this, one cool thing, and I'll just kind of share this right out of the gate, is that let me pull up Susan's website real quick. That on, and I'll put the link in there for everybody to access. Whoops.
I think it's going through a little maintenance right now, so let's go over to my slide deck instead because they
Okay,
are
hold
just,
on.
oh, no, there it is. There we go.
There we go. Yeah. Whoops. But anyways, I'm going to drop that. Yeah, let's jump on your slide deck, but I'm going to drop in your link because everybody can go check that out and you can basically try the platform out and do 4 tours with no obligation whatsoever. And like I had mentioned, I did Venice when we first met, and then because I'm into winter sports and skiing and snowboarding, and I'd never been to Banff, Canada. I was like, I saw a ski tour of Banff, and it was amazing. And I have to say, like Susan, I mean, I guess I'm a skeptic, whenever I talk to anybody, and it's sort of like it's talking about, oh yeah, we do online travel and this, that, and the other. It's like, okay, I think I'd seen a million ads about various online things, but the actual like live tour guide that's right there that you can ask a question, it really, in both situations, I felt like I was sitting on the ski lift and I felt like I was walking through the streets of Venice. But the beauty of it is that we all know walking the streets of Venice or any cobbled European street is not easy. And it's very close to being there, in my opinion.
It is. And again, I just want to announce to everybody the exciting thing. We're doing this for the website. I know we just got a message about it being under maintenance. I mentioned that before. We are actually making it so that the folks here, and this is exciting, at the end of this seminar and beyond, you're all going to be able to experience it risk-free and free of charge for 2 weeks, 4 tours. So I saw that question come up. We're going to have it by the end of this session. You'll be able to do that and register with no risk. So just hold on for that. Sorry about the timing of it, but that's fine. But yes, the whole idea is to be there and immersive, Steve. It is
Okay.
to actually talk to the guides. Every single one is curated. We're now working with 140 guides in over 180 different destinations, and we're bringing on more every single month because people ask for it. So we're curious too. We call all of our travelers our culturally curious, and I can show, if you'd like, a little bit about what it is so people
Yeah,
get.
yeah, just let's just walk through it. And if you've got some slides that sort of illustrate the concept. And
I,
then the other thing is like you've sort of got several different audience segments. Like this is a great thing in senior living communities, adult daycare, a great interactive way for audiences for communities to connect. But then folks like me, I just did this right on my desktop here. Went to Venice and went skiing for a half hour.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mentioned that it started during COVID because of what is now seen as the epidemic of loneliness. We know all
Mhm.
about that, rising social isolation. I saw that with my own mother. It was very personal to me, very personal. And we all know what the issues are. So this was the solution. The solution was either at home or in groups, getting people together for just really to be inspired to be. This is for lifelong learners. This is for real-time reactions and connections. And we're connecting with live guides, with a moderator. You should see the questions that come in. We love it. And we are able to work with many groups simultaneously. We say the more the merrier, and our platform is able to scale. So come on in, and that's how we're able to really have a whole community of travelers with us, whether it's at home or in groups. And you're absolutely right. We do both. We actually have individuals who come, of course, from senior living and adult daycare communities who may be unlikely or unable to travel because of mobility issues or age-related illnesses, but they still want to travel. They still want to go every place, and I get it. But interestingly enough, post-COVID, over 80% of our older adult subscribers are through our membership groups, such as alumni groups, museums, libraries, and they are going to travel. So they're trying before they buy. They're tasting it a little bit and asking questions they're previewing destinations and asking it. It's pretty simple how it works. I mentioned that we have moderators who moderate all the questions. So the questions are live. And by the way, we do it live every Tuesday and Thursday in your time zone. So we get around the world. We have 104 tours, 52 weeks times two. And then if you can't make the live one, we have on-demand replays the next day, Wednesdays and Fridays. So basically every day of the week, pretty much you can travel with Wowzitude and really ask the questions that you want to know from places all around the world. To make it even more immersive, we have trip kits because remember, I come from travel and we like brochures. So of course, we want to give recipes and maps and book and movie recommendations. We also have discussion questions because so many of our travelers are in groups, whether it's church groups or synagogues or other communities, doesn't matter, 55 plus. So they like to discuss it, kind of like book club. And so we have all that. We have sustainability, we have accessibility, and now we're even giving recommendations for 24 hours in that destination if you're going to travel in person or on a trip. So it's really pretty comprehensive. We're working with we're now up to about 1.2 million. Oh my goodness, from 3 years ago when we just started through our partnerships, again, with alumni associations, tour operators, museums, just so many media companies. It really has kind of glammed on. And of course, we started with our very best friends, our wonderful friends at communities, senior living communities all around the country, now around the world. So we really try to get to both. We've been fortunate that we've won quite a lot of awards. We are AARP and among others. We love the recognition. Also featured in the Wall Street Journal, among others. So pretty cool. And that's basically it. That's kind of the overview. It's quite simple, yet quite exciting. And the whole star of the show are the over 100 guides that we work with. They are amazing. And a lot of people say, well, post-COVID, Susan, are they still going to want to do live streaming? They're having in-person tours. And the answer is yes. They love it because they can add this to their day. They love the questions that come, the live questions from our audiences, and they really love connecting. They love showing off their locals, and they love showing off their city, going into, a bakery or a patisserie and speaking to the chef. I mean, there's all sorts of very personalized things. The other thing is we go places that groups can't go because it's just not big. You can't have 20, 30 people going. So we go to really off the beaten track places, and our guides go to places. Oh my goodness, they really love it.
Well, and we've all been in a city, and you've been on a guided tour, and if you're 12 feet away because the group is so big, you can't hear what the guide is saying. In fact, actually, like recently, like I was at a college tour with my daughter, and you're walking into a room, and if you are either the first or last person, depending on where that guide is positioned, it could just be a useless part of that tour. And that's one of the things that I loved about this was I mean, you could have headphones on and listening to this, you hear every word that the guide is saying. It's like they're talking to you one-on-one versus trying to get up there and get in and listen to them.
Well, that is the beauty, Steve. And when someone asks a question, because we train all the guides, this is not a marketplace. This is a very curated program that we do twice a year. And Tom asked how long the tours are. Each tour is 1 hour in length. So Tuesdays, it's an hour in the morning, actually in the afternoon. And Thursday, it is an hour in the morning, depending upon where your time zone is. Again, they're live. And it's very cool because we've taught them to turn the camera around. They use a gimbal, they use state-of-the-art equipment. We do tons of training, mandatory training. And we've taught them that if Tom, for example, who just asked a question to me, if he asked that same question, I was a guide, I would turn it around and I'd say, Tom, so the tours that you asked about the time, it's 1 hour. And they address the person, they repeat the questions. It's very personalized. And we can do that at scale because the truth of the matter is, even though we have hundreds, sometimes even thousands on each tour, most people aren't asking questions, or
Yes.
they're asking the same questions. So it's just, we say the wow moment is the now moment. So people get the sense that people are asking live questions.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I've seen that on this platform. Now, the one of the Rebecca was talking about this platform for her communities, and the 2 week window might be kind of tight. I just put your email in there because
Yeah.
Rebecca and anybody from a community, or if anybody, like if you can't make the 2 weeks work now, just email Susan, and I'm sure
Well, the
she'll.
beauty of it is your 2 weeks start whenever you want it to.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's not 2 weeks from today. If you
yeah,
want to introduce it next month, you have 2 weeks. And what that means is you get 4 tours, basically.
yeah.
So anytime you want to do it at any time, it could be this month, next month, the next month, it doesn't matter. The 2 weeks start when you raise your hand and go, pick me. And then
Yeah,
it's all automated.
but do you I'm assuming that if like I'm thinking about this for my church group or my senior community or my adult daycare, does you and your team offer some coaching on how to introduce this to the community and things of that nature?
Well, it's really interesting. We have a lot of FAQs, and that seems to answer it because there's no special equipment needed. That's the other beauty of it. All you need is a Wi-Fi connection and a screen. And that's it. So if you know how to do Zoom calls, which everybody here does, because we're doing a Zoom call today with you, Steve, that's it. Exactly what we're doing today is what you would do on a Wowzitude tour. So there's no special training. There are some FAQs. And if you need some extra help, obviously, we have our tour concierge, Catherine, who is there to help. Actually, Catherine's on every tour too. So if there are questions during the tour about technology, or oh, I can't get it to connect to my screen or something like that, guess what? We have your tour concierge who is there and can help you out there. You also mentioned, Steve, hearing and getting close. Not only can you hear it, but we offer closed captions in 140 languages. Oh my goodness. So if your community is a Spanish speaking community, no problem. The closed captions are in Spanish.
Okay, great, great. What about so so if I'm speaking, if your tour guide is speaking in English, it's
Yeah.
converting it to Spanish?
We love artificial intelligence,
Oh,
AI,
that's
and
great.
it just converts it absolutely while it's going on. So just like I see someone enable closed captioning here on this one, and they're seeing the in English, they're seeing it. Well, you can set it, any community or individual can set it for any language that they'd like. We got that feedback early on that some of our older adults are more comfortable. They can listen to English, but they'd like to read it in their language. We also have some tours in some other languages, but the Tuesday, Thursday ones are in English. But the closed captioning, again, can be in any of 104 languages. And again, Sherry, my apologies about finding an error. We're doing some maintenance at the moment, but there you go. We're showing it
Yeah.
right now.
Well, I don't know if I just had your
No, no,
site cached up.
that's good. So that's what the site looks like. The maintenance is there so that you can all try the free tours. So you can go there. And you can also see, if you scroll down just a little bit, there's a 2-minute video, not so far right there.
Oh,
Up
this one
there.
here.
Yeah, there you go. It's a 2-minute video. It shows every place that we go. It's not going to play right now because of the maintenance, or, oh, maybe it is. There it is. Good. You did cache it. So that's great. And it basically, these are our guides. Those are our real guides. They're saying hello. They're all showing you what they look like. That's the equipment they use. They're literally all around the world. And then you can see the type. These are all our walking tours. And you can see exactly what you see. These are our real tours. We've captured them and we put it all together. This is what happens when somebody asks a question. The guy turns their camera around and they answer the question posed to them. So it's very, very interactive and personalized. Groups love it. Individuals love it. And it's fantastic also for family members, caregivers, and anybody who's also planning a trip to go someplace. So it's very, very cool. So at the time that we did this, we had 87 guides. Now we have over 100. And again, it's great for groups and individuals at home, either one.
Cool. Um, no, that's great. Okay. Well, just if folks, if you're not getting on the site, just check back and we'll check it out
Yeah,
later.
it should be up by the end of this session. Again, we wanted it so that everybody here could do the free trial, and we just introduced that. This is breaking news from
Yeah.
Wowzitude.
And then Sue jumped in late, but this is a great question. Can you travel to places, just any random place you want, or is it a preset calendar of different places to go?
So on the site, you're going to see a preset group. We schedule these things in advance with our guides. We make sure that the guides are there. We train the guides. We make sure that the guides are there. But we like to hear feedback. We like to know where you'd like to travel to next. Here's the best part. With 104 tours, so 2 every week, we go to the most popular places like London, Rome, Paris, Venice, all the places you would normally think of going. And we really specialize about off the beaten track places that you never knew you wanted to go to before. We call them dupe or duplicate destinations. So if you love Paris, maybe you want to go to Montreal, so we've got
Now,
those different things.
where on here is there a
If
place
you
on
go to
here?
the subscribe tab, the second tab, yeah, there you
Okay.
go. If you go there and you scroll down, you're going to see a list of
Oh,
all
here we
the ones
go.
we
Okay,
have
so
coming up in April
this
and May. And then
okay,
once you're
it's
a subscriber, you get access to those trip kits that I told you about with the recipes and all that stuff Plus, you have access to our replays. So if you miss the live one, you can see it for 24 hours the next day. And we have that
Okay.
on our landing page.
Yeah, so it
Get
looks
a
like
Zoom.
this afternoon,
Yeah,
if you wanted to jump off this call and go to Edinburgh, Scotland, you could.
you
We've
can.
got Argentina, uh, Buenos Aires, and Nuremberg on the 23rd, Croatia on the 25th, to be determined on the
Actually,
30th.
we're announcing that one today. So we've got a very special one there. Oh my gosh, I didn't think we could get it, but we do. I'm not going to give it away.
Oh, okay.
Really
Well,
good.
so check back there. We got Seville, Spain, Uganda, Grenada, Yukon, Canada, Slovenia, Beatlemania in the Big Apple.
Right,
Huh, that's
revisit the days that the Beatles came for the Ed Sullivan Show.
oh cool.
I know.
Warsaw, Macedonia. Wow, this is pretty cool. And these are places, I mean, in my wildest dreams, I'm not gonna go to all these places. So for a world traveler, somebody who's curious, this is pretty cool. Let me ask you something. I mean, you said your background before getting into this. So two-part question. Number one, what's your favorite place to go, either in person or on Wowzitude? And then what would you say, like now that you've been doing this since the pandemic, what are sort of the top destinations of folks where you get the most positive feedback?
Well, I'll tell you, it's really super interesting. I had never, as I've been to prior to the pandemic, I personally had been to over 75 destinations. I know that's a lot, but I'm in the travel industry, so hello. And I'm older, so I've been around. But funnily enough, I had never been to Peru. I just didn't know what was there. It was very foreign, it was far away, et cetera, et cetera. And I just didn't know. And what I knew about it was Machu Picchu, right? Climbing it. I'm in my 60s myself, and I'm like, can I climb Machu Picchu? And we went on a live stream tour of Machu Picchu. Who knew that there was Wi-Fi and live streaming up there? There's every place. And I was able to ask questions. Well, fast forward last September, my husband and I went to Lima, Cusco. We climbed Machu Picchu, everything. It was fantastic. My wildest dreams, I never would have thought about it. So it's my new favorite place only because I was inspired by Wowzitude. Now, I love revisiting places I've been to before. I love going back to Dublin because as Chief Commercial Officer for CIE Tours, which does Ireland and Britain, I was there almost every month for 3 years. So every time we go to Dublin, it's like almost my, home. And I love I love being surprised and delighted by places I never thought of. Just last week, we went to Tbilisi, Georgia, not the state of Georgia, the country, the old Soviet Union. And I'm like, I don't know, what is there to see there? Unbelievable. They had churches going back, still in use from the 12th century. And we
Wow.
went to that church and we went in it, and it was like mind blowing. Because when would I even think about that?
Yeah.
So it's great for the familiar and for the unfamiliar. I love going to the Vatican. I love going to, and by the way, we tie these things in. We go to Christmas markets in December. We tie it in also with the holidays. St. Patrick's Day, we're in Dublin this year. This year, though, we were on the Green River in Chicago, so we really vary it up. We never go to the same place twice. We may be in the same city, but not the same area of the city. And it's always an adventure because it's live.
Yeah, no, I love it. Okay, let's see. Deb says, my husband and I are about a year out from getting Italian citizenship. Once that happens, we want to have a trip lined up. How would you suggest we start taking advantage of your platform to make some decisions as where to go?
It's a great question, Deb. I love that question. Well, we go to 9 cities in Italy, so you're in luck. That's a good country for Wowzitude. There's a lot of interest about Italy. There's a lot of heritage, obviously, in the United States with Italy. And plus, who doesn't love Italy? So we have almost every month, there's a trip to some city in Italy. Some of them are the familiar, like Rome or Florence, but we go to Ravenna, we go to places in Tuscany. cities there. We just went on a chocolate tour, to oh my goodness, where was that with the P? It'll come to me in a second. The name for the chocolate. So I obviously have chocolate on my mind. It'll come to me. But we had a fantastic trip there. And places, like Pistoia, which is in Tuscany. So we go to the familiar and the unfamiliar, the big cities, and also the off the beaten track in Italy as well.
Cool. And now Mary was asking, if you subscribe, will you have access to the previous recordings of these?
So sadly, no. Again, we don't have a library of recordings. We are big on the wow moment is the now moment. We do have the 24-hour on-demand replays the day after the tour. So if you miss it or it's not convenient, so if we're talking about St. Patrick's Day next week, it's still St. Patrick's Day next week. So one of the reasons is that our guides, it's their, they're all live and this is their livelihood and it's their thing. So we need to work with them and be respectful of their own content and creation. And the other thing is, quite frankly, then you can watch kind of TV.
Yeah.
This is the whole thing is it's of the moment. You can see
Okay,
what the
great.
temperature's like. You can see, we go out in rain and snow. If it's really bad, we never put our guides in danger. And we have from time to time switched out the tours. There's never been a time without a tour because again, we have over 100 guides. But we go out pretty much in all weather, sort of like
Okay,
when you go to a
cool.
country.
Well, the cool thing is, if your guide has an umbrella and a raincoat, I don't need to be wet.
Right?
Makes that tour better for me. Valerie was asking, what is the cost after the free trial? What is the cost of this?
So we've tried to make it as accessible as possible. And since we're a startup now, 3 years in, we've played with a lot of pricing. We have two prices, actually three, I should say. The first one is we work with a number of organizations. So if you are fortunate enough, for example, to be an alumni of Virginia Tech, hello, my Virginia Tech people, guess what? Virginia Tech is paying for it. So a lot of museums and other groups that we work with are doing it for their members. So that's one thing. And you could check with us, or if one of your memberships, your own alumni groups wants to do it, just get in touch. We'll tell them to do it, and you'll get it for free. So free is always good. If you are a group, meaning you're all getting together in one room, whether it is a senior living community, adult daycare, a church, we're working now with a lot of senior medical groups where they have like gatherings or something like that. That cost for the entire group, not individually, is $99 for all 8 to 10 tours per month. Comes down to about $10 a tour for the entire group. Pretty good. And then if you're an individual and you want to get it at home, streaming to you at home, it goes down to $59 a month. It's about $6 a tour on average because it's for all 8 to 10 tours, plus the trip kits, plus the replays, plus. So we've tried to make it so that it is completely both affordable and accessible to most. And the reason we can do this is because we're working on scale. We have a lot of groups and individuals coming to our Tuesday, Thursday, so we can keep bringing down the price.
Cool.
So it's quite accessible. At $6 or $10 a tour for a group, it's not too
Yeah.
bad.
And Rebecca says you indicated that you never go to a place twice. Does that mean if you did Big Ben in London, we would not have the opportunity to go there again?
So Rebecca, that's a great question. We do the Houses of Parliament and Big Ben, but then we'll probably do Buckingham Palace. Remember, these are all walking tours. So we're not doing like an overview of the whole city. It's wherever you can walk in an hour. And just like if you were traveling to London in person, you would probably take 3 or 4 different places. You'd go to Soho and you'd go to, the House of Parliament, you go to Buckingham Palace, you go to some, that's the same thing that we do. So the answer is yes, but maybe we'll repeat it the next year, but we really try within 12 months not to ever do a repeat tour.
Okay. And then Mary's saying, do you have to subscribe for a certain amount of time, or is this kind of per month? So you could do this for a month and then cancel your subscription and get back, join it 3 months later.
So that's why we do the 2 week trial. We want people to try 4 different tours. We want you to, because sometimes one tour may not be to your liking. It's, we're in the jungle somewhere, the next time we're in the city. So, we like to mix it up a bit. The minimum is 3 months, and then it goes month to month, and you can cancel at any time for any reason after that 3 month period. And the only reason we have a 3 month period is because we really want people to try 24 to 30 tours, because it's, sometimes somebody, especially a group, will go and they'll say, oh, well, we didn't know we were going to go to, XYZ. And then the next time they're doing Beatlemania and they're like, oh my God, this is great. So we
Hmm.
want we want people for 3 months. We figure you know if you love it or not. I will tell you, and we're very grateful. We don't have a lot of cancellations, but absolutely, if it's not right for the individual, the group, your plans change, you can't make those. We understand, and we don't lock you into a anything. You go month to month after that.
Cool. All right. Well, I think I got through most of the questions here, and I want, like, and folks, it's sort of like and Susan, number one, if there's anything that you haven't shared that you'd like to share, and then folks, if you've got a general travel question or destination that you're interested in, we can do a little bit of travel talk if that's
Which I,
appealing to
by the way,
folks.
which I love for a lot of the groups that we work with, particularly the alumni groups. I do a great session on how older adults can save lots of money on their travel. So I do that as well. That's not the walking tours. That's just like a bonus add-on that I do
Yeah, yeah.
because everybody loves that. And everybody always says, how can I save money? What sites can I go to?
Well,
I know all the sites.
it's interesting that you bring that up because I remember the first one that I did with you was Venice, which I've never been to before, and it was really pretty cool. I mean, but it sort of piqued my curiosity. So when you've got like these groups that are subscribing, does it ever sort of I could see where if I was with a group or viewing this with the group where I would be like, hey, anybody want to go to Venice next summer or something like that. Has going through this, has it ever sort of spurned on any group travel or anything like
So
that?
the answer is yes. Oh my goodness, yes. We get questions all the time, especially for off the beaten track. We also do, we work with private groups too. Aside from the Tuesday, Thursday, we have a number of community groups that we do private. We work with in Livio, we work with, I mean, there's so many groups we work with, it's not even funny. And oftentimes their groups are also, especially with alumni groups, they're going there in person. A lot of times people just want to know, well, can I get in touch with that guide? Because I really like that guide and I'd like to do a walking tour because we're planning a trip to Italy, or we're planning a trip to Porto, Portugal, which just happened last week. So we don't get involved with the trip planning part of it. Yay. We will do that. We do work with a travel agent, a couple of travel agencies. We can put you in touch or not. It doesn't really matter. We make that more as a just to make it easier for people if they want, because it's agencies I know do a very good job in these areas, but they can also contact the guides directly if they want to. We just after we do the live streaming, we don't get involved at that point, but these are guys we've worked with for over 3 years. We know them, we trust them, we get great feedback, not only with our live streaming, but also with the other. And by the way, I love the question that Valerie's asking now.
Yeah,
She's
I was wondering about
us,
that too.
yeah, how we handle tours in countries with really different time zones like Australia, night and day. Oh my God, Valerie, you are, a woman after my own heart. Yes, we first of all, we always say we chase the sun. We know, especially for older adults, we need to have very bright tours. We've learned this over 3 years, right? We need to have guides that have a very soft accent, very understandable. So even though we do the closed captioning, they have to be understood. There's a lot of vetting that we do. So Catherine, who is our tour concierge and also plans all these things with her team and her content creator team. We are constantly looking at the different time zones. We know time zones everywhere. And we do it in New Zealand. We do it in Auckland. We do have it in Sydney. Now, some places, if it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, we do rarely, but we've done this successfully where we'll do a hybrid where they will take a video during the day in daylight. They're live. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. They're up late. And we'll show parts of the video. They're also walking around and it's dark. We make sure it's in safe areas. And so we'll do a little bit of dark, but it's pretty well lit. And then we'll show the video because, by the way, I meant to tell you that during the tours, like a lot of times we can't get into churches, obviously. Either a church service is going on or it's, we just want to be respectful. We will show photographs, we will show videos so people get the sense of what it looks like on the inside as we're touring from the outside. So we took that concept in these night areas and we expanded it and we found that it was super, super successful because people get a real sense of it and we're still able to point out all the buildings because the guide is live. And so we're still asking all the questions. So we're doing day and night. And it's pretty cool. So the answer is yes, we figured it out. It's a little technical, but we're okay with that. And
Oh, no.
Joe asked whether the AARP membership entitles one to a free subscription. Well, we did win the prize from AARP, so we're very proud of that. We also are proud that I was speaking at the Consumer Electronics Show earlier this year, where AARP had a really big presence and booth. And Charlotte Ye, who's the chief medical officer, was talking about Wowzitude being one of her favorite programs. And I was in the audience. I never met her. I was like, did she just say Wowzitude? That was very exciting to me. Very exciting. And also she said it in context that programs like this, because of mitigating social isolation, that research has shown that it reduces hospitalization by 27%. So it's a quote we use and it's very nice from the health thing. Sadly, we don't have a commercial relationship with AARP at this moment. But the good news is that we do with pro-aging community. So there's some good stuff that we get because of our relationship. So, pro-aging, we love commercially also. AARP, of course, we love everything about them. We work closely with them, but, it's a big organization and it takes a little.
Yeah, no. Yeah, good question, Joe. And Sue, I like Sue's comment about being a single person and being leery about traveling. And out of curiosity, like how when you all gather, I mean, is there sort of connections between the attendees in chat similar to the way that folks on this call are connecting?
So great question, Steve. I love that question. So we don't show all the questions the way you're showing to everyone. And I'll tell you why. It's a little distracting because, we're on the tour and we're doing all this stuff. And although we're having a conversation, we're, with all due respect, we're not showing a whole city. And, we want people to be really focused on the guide in the city. So the chat questions, because we get questions two ways. One is through Zoom chat, the same way we are now. And the other one is we give an 800 number for text messaging, which you can do through Siri or texting, which, by the way, works great in a group, right? So anybody can do it. You don't have to sit there at your computer. It's fantastic. So we get a lot of great questions. So we don't have these kind of community kind of chats this way, but we can put folks in touch. We also know that we have what we call our regular questioners, and they ask the best questions in the history of ever. And so when Marna comes on or when Perry comes on or whatever, it's, oh, Perry, we know Perry's going to ask a question about food. And we know Marna's going to ask a question about, is this building, was it bombed and has it been renovated? Because she's an architect and she likes to ask those questions. We love when people have different questions from different backgrounds. If they're a
Mhm.
retired architect, if they're a teacher and they want to know what the school system is like, if they're in the healthcare and they want to know, is it socialized medicine and how long, we get questions on everything. And it is so cool. The best part of Wowzitude, in my opinion, and I love our guides and I love where we go, the best part is community. The
Oh
best part
yeah.
is whether you're asking questions or listening to the questions, it's that exciting part of it. Same way that we're doing right here,
Yeah.
with the
No,
questions
it
coming
it
in for
shifts
us.
it. Yeah,
Fantastic.
it shifts it from what the guide or the person thinks you want to know to what people really want to know, and or sharing their experience. Now,
We
I
kind
know
of
we
throw
talked
them
a little bit
sometimes, by the
about it.
way, Steve.
What,
I'm
say
sorry.
it again?
Sorry. We kind of throw them sometimes because they've got a narrative and they know when they're touring with Wowzitude, they've got to be super flexible
Yeah.
because you never know what you're going to get. It's unedited, it's unscripted. And if we're going to go in that direction, we're going to go in that direction.
Yeah, and the ability to pull up a browser on your screen and do a little bit of research on your own while you're walking down the street. There's a lot of ways it could play. Now, Tom is I think you've said this a little bit, but let's go into it again. He's on the board of Villages in DC. It's a collaborative of 13 villages in the District of Columbia. And I could totally see where an organization like that, it would be a really cool thing for them to jump in on. Just kind of walk us through what the experience of a membership organization. You'd mentioned $99 a month, but I mean, is that kind of it, or how do you
Well,
work with a
we
group?
have a number of groups which have many locations, and whether they're senior living communities or the villages or 55 plus community, I mean, we have so many. It's quite a lot. And so what we do, it really depends. If they're negotiating, for example, as an enterprise solution, so if they're doing procurement for a big group, that's a obviously we have group discounts like anybody else. And come talk to us. We love that. If it, the prices I quoted was really for an individual group or an individual at home,
Okay.
but certainly if there are groups of groups, a good way to put it, groups of groups, we absolutely have something for the groups of groups, and we do a special onboarding for those groups as well. That's in a different category. That's more like our licensing partners, and
Okay.
that's again a very different kind of thing. So, and again, we do hybrid for that too. We can do it for people gathering in a community room or in a group or in an auditorium, any screen works, or if they're also enjoying it at home.
Yeah, because I'm assuming like an alumni group, it's sort of they're all over the world kind of to
Yes.
okay.
We
All right.
have 40,000 members of Virginia Tech that we onboarded just this month alone. And, we love it. By the way, we also give all our groups, we do little snippets, little social media kind of 20-second things. So they can get their people excited about it. We have that after every single one of our live tours. We will supply anybody who asks, or they can download it from our site or anything else, a little 20-second, 30-second kind of video where you can see it and you can hear the guide. And we do that for each and every tour.
Cool. All right. And Sue says, is there a Zoom link that's sent to each of the members each week, or do members have their own unique login and credentials?
All right. So I thought that I had the best questions with my group. You win, Steve. This is the best questions. You're asking all the right questions. So Sue, there is a Zoom link that has an independent, unique log on credential for every single participant. Now, when we work with licensing, so for example, when we work with an alumni group where it's not, it's different, we have an enabling technology that we do with them. Very, very simple. It doesn't even require any APIs. It's just a link. And we're able to then go to unlimited. It goes to a secret YouTube channel, but it's live. And so their members are the only ones that have access, but it's unlimited. They can have 20, 30, 40, 50,000 members. We don't do that. The largest number of folks we ever had on a single tour was 7,500. Now I know that's a lot, 7,500 on one tour, but it was still interactive. We still got to all the questions. It was so
Mhm.
exciting. I mean, talk about a group wow. It was great, but that's because, we really are not limited with the number of folks. Um, I love Deb's question, by the way. Deb is asking now whether we make recommendations for those who have mobility issues. So is it more easy to navigate rather than some of the in-person walking tours that we're showing? Because Steve, you mentioned the cobble streets. Deb, That's what we do on the trip kits. Remember, I mentioned that we have 8 to 10 page trip kits that go with each and every tour. We have an entire page on accessibility. Oh my goodness, right? So we work with an incredible content team that does amazing research with all the destinations that we go to. We work with the tourist offices and we work with accessibility tour operators who specialize in mobility. And so we have an entire page telling those with mobility issues or any type of accessibility issues. It could be blindness, it could be deaf, it could be anything. And we tell them all of the different resources, all of the different places, and how to navigate if they want to do in person in that city. So yes, we do that as well.
Cool. No, this is great. And it looks like we got a few folks involved with villages. I'd love to connect you with the Village to Village network. It's the nationwide network of
I'm very
villages.
familiar and I don't know anyone there. So hello
Oh,
and
yeah.
welcome. We're
So
thrilled.
no, I could see where this is could be a really nice addition to those platforms, universally nationwide if they could kind of work something out like that.
Yeah, we love that.
Or
Again, we're a very tightly knit, fabulous team. I want to give a tip of the hat to my colleagues, Karen and Catherine. I think they're on the call. Cecilia, our entire content team. I mean, we work so diligently to craft this. Again, we're not a marketplace, at all. This is so crafted for older adults. It's crafted for quite frankly, people like me in their 60s and my mother who was in her 90s. So the sweet spot is 55 to 95. I know that's a big, swatch, but that's why we are careful about hearing how the guides sound. We're careful about the accessibility and all of the closed captions in English and other languages. We are always putting ourselves in the place of our audience. What does that audience want to hear, whether they're thinking about going in person or whether they're not, that they don't have the ability to do that, but want to feel like they're there. So
mhm.
that is always front and center for us.
I love it. This is great. Well, I feel like we've covered everything. Is there anything that you can think that we missed? I mean, I think the most important thing, the website's working for me right now, but
Yeah,
folks, don't
well, I
worry.
just I just got a notification that it's not us because I'm
Yeah,
like, what are we doing?
yeah,
It's actually our server and it's affecting about 40 million people, so I don't feel very
okay.
special at the moment. But I hear that some people can access it and some people can't.
Yeah, no, I've
It's
got it, no
everything.
problem. And
So you should be able to access it. I think they'll have it up pretty quickly, wowzitude.com. I think the big thing, Steve, is we want to encourage everyone to at least just try a tour. The only thing I ask for is we love to get your feedback. How can we improve? How can we do things better and differently? I'm passionate about this. I never thought being in the travel industry that this is what I would be doing ever. And quite frankly, no, individual subscriptions are 59, not 99. I just want to correct that. But that's a group subscription that Ravi asked. But what I want to definitely encourage people is just to try it. Give us feedback. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. We want to know everything, good, bad, or indifferent. 3 years in, we're still a startup and still in that creative mode. We are improving things based on feedback every single day. We love technology. We love technology because technology enables us to automate. It enables us to bring our prices down. It enables us to get to more people. It enables us to really delve in, and we love the feedback. That's what we live for. So whether or not you plan, if you're just curious and just want to see what this is all about, try it. There is no risk. I promise you, no risk. We don't want to charge anybody who doesn't want to get these things. Um,
cool.
but we do want to know what your feedback is. The reason you're on Steve's program, the reason that you're in the pro aging community is because you're engaged and involved in this community. And so you're my peeps. You're the people I want to hear from. So this is great. I
Yeah.
know that, yeah, I know that we just got a question about archiving from Valerie. So I totally get that. Again, we're all about the wow moment is the now moment, and we want to be very, um, we want to be sensitive to the creative that our guides. Remember, we have 100 guides. This is their livelihood. So you probably saw the stuff in Hollywood that they were on strike for over a year and everything else because we want to make sure that when we're paying our guides, and we do pay them extraordinarily well because we do demand a lot of them, that they are well compensated. And if this is in a library, it again, it's like residuals and all sorts of things. And we don't want to get into issues. We've heard that from our guides, and we want to have the very, very best guides
Yeah.
for our Wowzitude community. So we don't want guides that will do it or won't do it. We want all the guides. So
Yeah.
this enables us to get every one of our fantastic guides. And they love working with Wowzitude because we care about them.
Yeah, no, it really is interesting, and I sort of draw the analogy to these discussions where, and my own sort of bias towards, I rarely go to recorded discussions. I generally like to be involved in the live thing, and again, for Valerie, I kind of thought the same thing. It's like, ah, geez, but when I jumped in on the two Wowzitude tours that I took, I really felt a difference because I was there live. And I'm not sure. I think my preference would be that you got the live Wowzitude tours, and then if I just want to learn about Venice, I'm going to go on YouTube and PBS and watch some documentaries and stuff like this. But this is
Yeah. I
it's
mean, I love Rick
you've created
Steves.
a little niche there that I think is pretty cool. And yeah,
I appreciate that. It really is different than TV. Look, I love travel programs. I'm a travel nerd. I really am. Whether it's live streaming the way Wowzitude does or in person, I am a nerd. I have been a nerd my entire life. I'm happy to say that my two kids, age 26 and 24, emulate their mother. I never know where they are ever. And sometimes if they're curious, I'll say, well, we're having this tour that you haven't been on before. Maybe it'll inspire you. It is designed for older adults, but it is also really for those with wanderlust. Anybody that is, again, we call them, we don't even say older adults, we say it is the culturally curious. We're
yeah,
not just talking about history and, nobody's taking a test after this. We want to know about the culture. We want to know about the economy.
yeah,
We want to know about current events. We want to know about how the society feels about something going on in the world right now. We do a lot on sustainability. We want to know about climate change and how that's affecting places. You mentioned Venice, Steve, that's the trip that you're on. Well, there's been legislation recently that just passed where groups are now no longer allowed to go there because it's affect or without a permit and some additional costs.
hmm,
They're trying to reduce that because it's really affecting what's happening in Venice, and we want it for generations to come. So on top of everything, Wowzitude is very sustainable. We're very
hmm,
pleased with our carbon neutral footprint, and
yeah,
we're able to bring thousands and thousands of people up close and personal. When we get a question where somebody says, could you zoom in on that part of the cathedral where we can see the very, very specifics, that guide will zoom in to the specific sculpture on a cathedral or on a building or whatever and talk about that and talk about how it was either, renovation or it's original or whatever. And that's really hard to do in person. And it's particularly, I mean, anybody with all due respect who's been to Venice in the summer, it's crowded and
yeah,
expensive.
yeah,
So
yeah.
really take all that away.
Oh yeah, and you don't have the smells and all that. But now this is kind of cool. As we've been sitting here, I've got the I signed up for the 4 tours on us thing, and literally in my email box, hopefully you guys can see this. I just got a reminder.
Now
Wow's
you're showing our
tour.
site right now. You're showing the other screen.
Oh, I'm on the wrong. Okay,
I know.
hang
I do that all the time, by the way.
on. Let me
All the time. I
see.
have two screens. I'm like, I'm not showing the right screen. Is this right? So yes, you will get an invitation a
Like
day
this.
before, right? There you go. You will
Yeah,
get the day before and an hour before
yeah,
the tour. And it's just a link. That's all you need. That and
And
a
it's
screen, and you're
just like
good.
joining this webinar.
That's
So,
it.
yeah.
That's it. You don't need to subscribe to Zoom. You don't need to any of that. If you need a screen and Wi-Fi, and we're good.
I love it. Well, this has been amazing, Susan. We got the recording. I'll put all your contact links on there. Folks, I hope you try it out. In addition to giving Susan feedback, if you try this out, let me know how it goes. I'm always curious about the things that we introduce you to, and you're getting your feedback on it. But I really I commend you. This is a really innovative and cool way to to help the curious be more curious. And I certainly love the experience.
Well, Steve, again, I'm so grateful to you. By the way, Wowzitude is a combination of wow and gratitude. So when we first took my mother around during COVID, and she was going out of her mind, she was in senior living, and we went to Dublin with her. We did a walk with our guide Hazel, who I knew very, very well from CIE, obviously. And we didn't know it was like a selfie stick. I mean, this is the early days before we had the equipment. And all we heard is my mother going, wow, like 200 times. And this is a woman who was like, with COVID, like everybody else. And she was 96, all there, big traveler, loved it. And I said, well, Ma, this really changed your attitude. I'm so pleased. And she said, I'm so grateful. I have unbelievable gratitude. And shouldn't we all? So, wow and gratitude. People ask us about the name all the time. Wowzitude stuck. We want to give wow moments. We want to create gratitude and just conversation.
Well, the other good thing, and this is sort of out of the entrepreneur's playbook in this space, even though the majority of your clients and people who are on here may be termed older adults, not including that in your name is what makes it appealing. If it was the senior virtual travel program, just like the challenges that senior centers have, it's a more positive name that is inclusive of
It's all about the
everybody.
wow moments. It's at any
Yeah,
age. It's for families, caregivers. We designed it for older adults, but
yeah.
anyone can appreciate it. Again, I'm in my 60s. I'm proud to say that I'm getting close to 67. So I'm of that same ilk, and it's got to appeal to everyone.
I
So
love it.
designed for older adults, but appeals to all.
I love it. All right, folks. Well, I'm psyched for the folks that are all excited to try this out. I think you're going to love it. And Susan, we will be checking in with you from time to time. Look forward to continue working with you.
You too, Steve. Love you, love your community, and I want to thank you. I love everything you do. I love your programming and pro aging. I try never to miss it. You bring the
Yes.
best. No, you really do. You bring the best things. I'm always learning. By the way, Shari lives about in the next town from me, who's
Oh,
going
the
to
green
program.
burial thing. Oh, holy
I
cow.
know, right? So
I
I know Shari because we're neighbors. So
had
who
no
knew, right?
idea. Oh my gosh, this is
I know.
great.
So I know Sherry Haber very well. So if you're anybody who's on your pro, go to that one next week. Fantastic. She's brilliant. And it is not, it's very uplifting. I'll put it that way.
Exactly. I love it. All right. Okay. Well, we'll see you, Susan. Thanks everybody who tuned in today.
Thank you
All right.
all.